Hi everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to part 11 of Build the 1350 refit from Polar Lights. And for you folks at home, it may seem like yesterday. For me, it seems like an eternity. And I don't say that in a negative way, and I don't say it in an angry way. I say it because if you're going to tackle the 1350, and I know you all have it in your stash, some of you have started it and stopped, and I can certainly understand why. And some of you just don't have the time, and I get that. But I encourage each and every one of you to open this box and do a part of it. Do the Arboretum. Start with something small, but get in there and start looking at it. Get all the sprue off, clean up the parts. Just start it, please. I beg you, because you'll feel really good, and I'll feel good that this kit is out of a box and on a shelf where it belongs, being enjoyed. Okay, enough of my rant. I like to say that only because a big part of why I have this channel is because I love this hobby so much, and I enjoy each and every one of my subscribers and their comments and the community at large. And so if it's just an infectious hobby, at least for me it is, it means an awful lot. So if I can get at least one of you to say, okay, Phil, I've opened the box, I've succeeded. Okay, before we dive into 11, lots to talk about in this episode, and we're going to try to cover an awful lot. I'm pushing towards the finish line. I feel like I'm running a marathon, not a sprint here. And I feel like I'm a few miles from the finish line. But before we dive in, and I'll sort of update you on what I've been doing and what we're going to do in this episode, I wanted one last time to give a big shout out to the man himself, the great Lou Dalmaso, who I now consider to be a very dear friend, my guru. I mean, and I don't take that and say that lightly. I mean, his generosity, his kindness, his patience, and his willingness to teach when he can is just really appreciated. So Lou, a big thank you to you. I know you don't appreciate this because it's putting you on it in a spotlight, but I appreciate you, and each and every one of your subscribers appreciate you, and we're just so grateful that you continue to share your love of model building with us and the incredible kits that you're building. So go check out the great Lou Dalmaso, the Aztec dummy himself, who we're celebrating in part 11. Now let me dive in. Okay, you can see behind me is the saucer. Other than the fact that it now needs a gloss coat and decals, it's ready to go. So during this episode, we will be gloss coating that and getting it ready for decals, and we will get the sensor bands on it, and I hope to do that in this episode. I have been working on the nacelles. They are in front of me. Here they are-ish. And what I've been doing is I've been doing some detail painting. So the chiller grill side with the sort of the transparent purple is in. If you recall, we also painted black lines between on top of it. Excuse me, the purple on top. The interior is what we're supposed to keep clear. Everybody thinks it's the other way around, but it's not. It's the thin lines that you need to protect. And so if you go back and check, I show you exactly how I do that and what I used. But that worked out really well, and I'm super happy with it. I've been picking out all the various different colors, the copper and the blues. I've been getting my Aztecing on, and of course I've been putting on my wonderful sort of color changing, shifting paints I've been trying on the top of this. I shifted from the expensive stuff to this stuff just because I wanted to try it. Why not? And I think it does it's a brilliant job. If some of you are not aware of the shifters, as we call it, it's not a rock band from the 60s. It is a Vallejo paint. This one is green gold and cold blue, and it's simple. It goes on really well. The brush likes it, so I like it, and I've been playing with that. And of course, picking out all the various details. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do here. I've got some yellow that needs to go on the back, and I've got some light blue that still needs to go here with a dark blue band that crosses it. So I'm going to be doing that as well, just to get those finished off, and then they'll get a gloss coat and they will be ready. The secondary hull with its pylons and neck are finished, ready to go. They have a gloss coat. They're waiting for decals. So I'm going to be basically sort of getting on with it here and sort of drilling down on getting the final details painted on these nacelles so that we can get a gloss coat on them. And then when we come back, we're going to work on the sensor bands that I'm going to be putting on with the JT Graphics decals. Excuse me. But before I go, one last thing I did want to mention, because I'll forget, is I think some of you may have heard during the last few updates that I casually have been talking about this base. Now I'm committed to this base because it's all wired up. It's plugged into my. It's actually plugged into my my kit. So other than unless I get a brand new stand and a whole bunch of stuff, I'm committed to making this work. But I'm concerned because I've got a weak point in the neck where it stands. We'll talk about that because mistakes are important to share as well. But I'm hoping that if I can't get it to tighten up, because I wasn't able to switch out the plug. I do have a new plug, but I'm not able to switch it out. It's just too complicated. It's best to start again. I may have to do that. I'm not sure. But we'll sort of burn that bridge when we come to it. Right now, I just want to focus on getting the model finished, and so I'm that's what I'm focused on right now. But I did want to share that with you because we shall be talking about that. And also, I'm I have been doing some light testing, and everything's firing up, but I'm not as excited about the brightness of some of the lights in my windows. Now, this could be operator error. I did follow the instructions and I put all the light where I needed to, but it just doesn't feel as punchy as it should. But we'll talk about that towards the end. Lighting it up is a big part of it and is a fun part of it. But at the end of the day, a static model is also what I'm jonesing for too. So I'm not saying that as a cop-out, but I'm just saying me and electronics sometimes don't get along, and I don't know why. But there you go. Okay, so welcome back, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to continue to just pick off some of these the painting details here, get these nacelles finished, and get a gloss coat on this, and then we'll come back and we'll look at putting sensor band decals on, because it'll be fun to see how they work and how they look. So that'll be up in the next segment. Stick around. Under no circumstances should you adjust your sets. We are live and in person at Spruverse, and we are decaling our 1350 Polar Lights Enterprise. Oh yes, this day has come, and it is a long time in the making. It is an incredibly satisfying process to build this ship, but it can exhaust you. That's my personal opinion. There's a lot of talented modelers out there and a lot of my subscribers who are chuckling, and I appreciate that, because while I may sometimes exude confidence, I am truly coming to this bench every day and learning. And the purpose of this channel is not to say, professional modeler here showing you how to build models. No, if you think that is what's going on, you've come to the wrong place. No, I am a passionate lover of this hobby, and I truly started out this channel to actually memorialize all of the builds that would, in essence, reinvent my collection, which had been given away over the years. And that's sort of the basic story of why I started the channel. But I have another secret agenda, and that is to get each and every one of you who are watching me to start building something. Anything. I don't care how large or small. I don't care how many minutes you can spend at the bench. Even if it's 5 minutes to open the box, ruffle around and put it back. You've done something just to stimulate that passion, that love, that thing inside of you that wants to get hobbying again, and scale modeling again. And that is also my passion for this channel. It's a call to arms to get us all building and sharing what we're doing and learning and growing as a community. Okay. I speak too much. I saith too much. Here we go. I've started with the saucer, and the reason why I'm starting with the saucer is because I want to attack these sensor bands. Now, I am using. Let me show you what I'm using. Here it is. Let me see if I can get you closer so you can see. This is what I'm using. It's the jtgraphics.com sensor bands. Okay, it's JTG PL08B sensor bands, and you can get them from jt/graphics.com. And here is all the information you need about JT Graphics. There they are. So if anybody asks, it's in the show. No questions. There it is. I'm leaving it on long enough for everybody to see. Okay, and so what you get. Is you get enough to do one set of bands, right? So here they are, and they're all tied together. Now, there could be a myriad of ways to tackle this, he says. One way might be to cut each individual band out, because this is one complete set. You know, these are not hand stamped so that you can slide each one off individually. No, they do have to be cut. And there are several issues here, right? One is spacing, so I wouldn't recommend touching these. I'm just going to slide them off as one set so they're perfectly equal. The other issue is, you know, you're going to come across a band that's going to go right over a window. And so my recommendation is, and what I've learned is, seal everything, let it dry, leave it alone, and then don't come back to it for a week. Let it settle, let it dry, and then you can carefully trim out your windows. There's no other way to really do it. But if you try any sooner, you could risk, you could risk absolutely damaging these. There's also one other issue too, is some of my windows are not back in yet. I'm going to use a small syringe and inject a microcrystal clear into the windows that I did not use my acrylic windows on. Now, you might be saying, Phil, wait a second. You waxed poetic about the acrylic windows. Why aren't you using them all? Well, here's what I found is I was having a little bit of, now there's pros and cons to those windows. Pros are they are perfectly sized, they're pre-masked, but I was noticing that there were slight nuanced differences, and you do have to go around with a drill, carefully drill things. And what I noticed was if you are not absolutely perfect, you one or two things happen. It's either too tight, you push it in and you're putting too much pressure on this saucer, or it's too loose. You either run the risk of pushing it through, or you're getting a little gappage. Now, if I was slightly more skilled and felt like I wanted to spend more time, I would do that. I am not knocking those acrylic windows. They have actually, they're beautiful, and I do recommend them. But I'm just being brutally honest about my sensibility and where I am. Okay. Now, because I know that I run the risk of making a mistake here. I've bought two sets. Now, I love all of you who are rolling your eyes. You are correct. It is not for those on a budget, for sure. But for me, in my state of learning, you know, if I come across an issue or I want to correct something, I can do it. You could, if you wanted to, also cut these off into smaller pieces so that, you know, it's not too much to handle. But I think the less cuts, the better. So I'm going to make a dangerous attempt without a net to do these as individual pieces, and let's see how we do. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut these into a more sort of manageable, much more manageable sort of thing here. And as I'm looking down on this, I'm thinking I've got a very sharp knife here, and I've got a ruler. So I'm going to start to just trim these a little bit, just so that I start to get a little closer to the film. Now again, this is a brand new blade, so I shouldn't have any issues. And then just a quick trimmage here. Okay. And what I'm feeling here is I probably are going to take my scissors and I'm going to very carefully just take these down. Now I probably should use a longer cut here, I think. There we go. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want a tremendous amount of film on the edges here. So I'm being, now you have to be very careful, but I'm gonna okay, so that's good on that end. And we'll do this end, we'll just sort of trim these off. Now I don't know if these are exact or if they need an additional trimmage. I won't know that. Let me just run my knife along here. Okay. Band on the run. So let me get this out of the way so I don't damage it. I'm gonna just trim this off just a little more. Now what I like about these bands is they're super crisp, and as a first time 1/350 builder, and I say that with all humility, as I was cleaning up my saucer, I was not able to save these sensor band ridges, you know, especially around where I was putting some of the photo etch in, and then no matter how hard I tried, I could not get this saucer to line up super correctly. Okay, so there I have this, and what I'm attempting to do here now is just sort of lay this down and see what I've got. Sort of that dry dress rehearsal, you know, to see how well these are going to behave, and where I want my line to be. Now, here's what's interesting, because this is the first thing that you can either deal with or not deal with. I'm probably going to not deal with it and make this the last cut, because as we can see, I don't want to cover these windows. I don't think there's any need. There's absolutely no reason to. And my acrylic windows are in, and I'm seeing that I've got one sensor band that might go through the middle, and the other two may go across the top. It may actually work out perfectly. But I also have, if you've noticed, excuse me, I've got a little bit of photo etch to put in here and clean up my little windows. So I haven't done that. So I'm going to need to come back and do that. But I'm going to do that as a finishing piece, because it requires a little bit of delicacy for what I'm going to do, which is I'm going to take just a portion of the just a portion of the photo etch, just to put over these window frames, just to demarcate those windows. Okay, so I'm going to slide over to this side here and take a look. See here. So flush with the center, and now it is printed on a curve, so you do have that going for you. But curiously, and I'm coming around the front here now because I'm just checking to make sure that there's no, and the instructions doesn't say anything about one fitting particularly well anywhere. It's sort of like, you know, good luck to you, keep in touch kind of thing. So now as I'm looking, actually, as I'm looking to find my sort of my center band, I'm realizing that, let's see here, does it go that way around? It might go that way around. Yeah, it does. So I'm realizing that I've got a really, really nice mark here, a really nice mark. But I'm also noticing here, and I'll get you here. I'm also noticing that I've got to do just a little trim here to get that angle correct. Because if I look at the actual model, the sensor band dies into this cowling. So I am going to have to get that angle. So that is interesting. Looking to see where I am. So I'm there, and I need that angle. So the way I'm going to get that, I think, is I'm going to use the actual kit part as my template here, and I'm gonna use that as the correct angle. And now it's just through the top ones, and I'm only going to use the piece I need. So I'm going to go like this. Let's see here. Just double check my. I'm going this way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this is up. I'm just going to make a little mark here. see here. I'm going to make a little mark, that just a little indicator mark there, so I know which way is up. And then I'm going to lay this down in here. And I should and I do have the correct angle. That is a result. I am super happy with that. And that will die into there really cleanly. So I'm super happy with that. Okay. So that worked. So now it's just a matter of laying this down. So I'm going to get this decal wet and I'm going to slide it on. What do you think? What do you think? I think we are. I've got really nice marks. I'm feeling really good about this, and I'm really liking this. Really liking this. Okay. So I'm gonna wet this down, get it on, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. I'm not gonna do it on camera. I'm sorry. I might do the next one on camera, but let me try this, and just to make sure, because you know this is about concentrating, right? So don't worry, you won't miss anything. I just want to make sure that I get my first one laid down correctly. Okay, wish me luck. Well, it's on, and the result's pretty good. So look at this. It is on. Now it is requiring just a gentle kind of cleanup, but not much at all. And the effect, as you can see, is quite dramatic. It's quite dramatic, and it works. It does work, and not only does it work, but it just lends an absolute just finishing touch to this model that you just can't escape. So I could not be happier. I could not be happier. Now I've got a couple of little trimmage things that I'm going to take care of, but I'm not going to do much to it right now. I'm just going to leave it alone because I'm going to let that just give that a minute or two, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to clean up just a little bit of this side. But I think it's working really well. I'm really happy with it. So I'm actually just going to keep going, guys. Now, you know, you guys don't need a lesson in how to lay decals. So I'm not going to give one, and there's plenty of other people out there who are more qualified to do it than I am. But I will say a couple of things that I have learned, obviously, is be very careful and just get the end of your piece, get it lined up, and just gently start laying it down. And if you're all lined up and square, it should behave. If it doesn't, You can squirt it with a whole bunch of water. That's why I have my little trusty spray bottle, and that does help. And of course, the micro set does help with adhesion, and I might put a little sole on as well, just so that it sort of dies into those windows, and just, you know, finds a little, just sort of drops in a little bit, and it'll help adhere those too, because that's one of the other things too, is you don't want to come back and ultimately have to find yourself tearing a decal, because believe me, I've done that 1,000 times. Okay, so I'm going to get the rest of my sensor bands on, and once I've got my sensor bands on, we'll start looking at all the various sort of detail decals that will finish the top of the saucer. Then it has to be flipped over, and we'll do the bottom of the saucer, but we won't do that today. We may move on to the secondary hull and start doing some work there, because you got to let these decals set in and dry. But coming together really well. It's fun. I'm really happy with it. It's just, wow, it's just a huge selling point for this kit. Huge selling point. Okay, let me plow on, and I'll show you the finished sensor band presentation, as it were, before we carry on. But there you go, lots of fun. Stick around. I wanted to jump in here just for a second, because I wanted to share something with you that I've just learned, and that is that the Walthers, which has often been my go-to. The Walthers is too harsh on these particular decals, but the Micro Set and Micro Sol from Micro Scale Industries is okay. So I've lost one. I have two sets, as you know, so I'm okay. So I'm going to continue with the Micro Set and the Micro Sol, and I've pushed my Walthers to the side here. But I wanted to share that with you, so that in case you go down this road, you don't have the same issues that I have. Now, it could be operator error, but I'm just giving you my 2 cents of what happened. It really was too harsh on them. And they're not super delicate, but you do have to treat them with a little bit of TLC. And so anyway, I just wanted to pop in and share that with you before I forgot. We're gonna carry on. I do have 2 sets on, so they're going on really well. They're going on really well. Come on, focus. Oh, you don't want to focus. There you go. See, they're going on very well. Very, very well. So it's a result, and it's actually getting exciting, because you really start to see this beauty come together. But anyway, so there you go. That's a long-winded caution. We plow on. Sensor bands are on, and I am happy. I am also relieved, but they're on. And it is does require a little bit of TLC. Now, I have discovered that not all decals are created equal, as we know. So I had some that came off nicely, and I had a few that just didn't want to cooperate. So the net result, of course, is I have a few areas that need to be cleaned up. The good news is I've got enough left over that I can I can clean this up. But I had a couple that just didn't lay down, so I'm going to have to work on those right now. They just, they tore on me, or they just didn't want to lay down. It happens, but they're on. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give them a chance to settle in and dry. We'll take a look at them in a little bit, but I just wanted to sort of, for posterity, record the fact that they're on. Now I'm just going to sort of just give them a chance to dry, and we'll go to the next step. There's something so satisfying about decals. I can't explain it, especially the tiny ones, because you don't have to fight with them so hard. Although, they've all got their challenges. I am very grateful that these are watermarked, and they're all individual, and it makes your life so much easier. But you still have to take your time. You can't do. I wouldn't try to do these like 3 at a time, 4 at a time. I just want to do 1 at a time and take my time. But it is fun to see them going down. I've got the rear Enterprise down, and that is in position. So it actually officially has its name on the saucer. That's kind of fun. And I'm sort of looking at all of the various different things here that have to go on. I've got escape pods, I've got hatch call outs, all kinds of things like that. So I'm going to be on this for a while. But I thought it would be fun to come back and just sort of hang for a little bit here and talk about this journey and how far we've come. This is obviously part 11, and I know there are guys who have built this ship with far greater detail and far greater skill than me. But to get this far on a kit that used to scare the bejesus out of me is really, really, you feel really good. And we've come a long way with this kit, and it's not without its demons and struggles, because I would be lying if I said to you this kit is a walk in the park. It isn't. But it's also, if you take your time, it's also quite a rewarding kit, because it has so much nostalgia, So it's really fun to have it. Sorry, I'm concentrating here, and trying to pull this sucker off. Okay. I'm being very quiet. I apologize, but I want to get this right. Okay. Not sure if you can see that one or not. Let's see, where are you? Yeah. Let me turn it into camera a little more. There you go. So you can see it's coming down. I can actually probably get you closer, I think. Whoa! No, can't get you closer. I will get you closer. I promise. I will fix that camera. That apparently is 10 miles away. So I've got a few other little detail things I talked about. I've got the rec deck windows that need to be put in. I'm going to just cut my photo etch just the actual frame inserts. I'm going to pre-paint those and then drop those in with just a little bit of CA, just so that those windows are correct. But I don't need to do that right now. Right now I'm just so excited about decaling, you know, depending on what part of the world you're from, that I'm just having too much fun. So I'm gonna keep going here, because it's really, as I said, it's quite satisfying. And then the next huge hurdle that is coming along is assembling these pieces, right? So that is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a big challenge, actually, because I've got to make sure that everything is lined up correctly and fits correctly, because I've also, that is one of the parts of building this kit that scares me, is making sure everything is lined up and correct. And then, of course, once my decals are all down, it's going to get a final. I think I'm going to go satin. I don't think I'll go matte. I think I will go satin with this, so it maintains a little bit of that sheen. I think that's correct for you know, this world. But anyway, for me, it feels right. So I'm going to continue to put my thruster markers down. I'm going to then turn my attention to some of the smaller items after I've put down the registry. We're going to do the registry, I think, right after I put this next thruster down, and we're definitely going to all be there for that, because that is the defining moment of this build, and we got to be there for that, right? We got to see the registry going on the saucer. So that'll be up in the next segment. Hey. NCC 1701 is down. It's down. I don't know why, but I've got chills. I'm as giddy as a schoolboy. This is terrible, isn't it? But I'm just being honest with you. This is what a momentous occasion. And I am just so thrilled that you guys are with me for this moment. And we're going to now lay in USS Enterprise. And I'm going to put that into the water. And as I need to absolutely make sure I do this correctly. I'm going to get a little bit of water down here on the surface, just so that we're all good to go. And I'm very careful to mop up lots of stuff here. Okay, the registry is out of the water, and I'm going to just sort of, I'm looking. I mean, it went down. I think it went down absolutely perfectly. I don't think there's anything to touch here. And I should be good. I shouldn't have any silvering issues, because I had a nice gloss coat on there. She's nice and centered. I'm just going to make sure that we are sliding here correctly. No, we're not sliding yet. I'm going to give it just a little bit of water. I know I'm being a little overly dramatic here, but for all of you guys who have yet to get to this point, it is incredibly satisfying. And for those of you who have gotten to this point, I honor you and I salute you, because it's quite a journey. It's quite a journey, and there's still a lot more to do, but this is to me, this is a big deal. I'm sorry, it just is. Okay, so let's just make sure we're sliding, and we are. I'm gonna just I wonder if you should be there. Yeah. So let me just make sure that the EN is about there. Okay. I'm gonna get it down, and I'm gonna pull it into position. I think let's just make sure. Let's come down just a hair. There. Make sure we're all centered. We're looking good. We're looking good. I'm going to go this way just a hair. Okay. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I'm going to go this way just a hair more. That feels good. Let me get this mopped up. And I'm thinking right now about Wayne and Lou, especially Wayne, because I know this is going to be a moment that he is going to really cherish. Lou's just rolling his eyes right now and going, calm down. Calm down, Phil, calm down. But I'm sorry, I'm just absolutely over the moon. Okay, I'm going to put a little set on here just to get that to relax. And there she is. The registry is down. She's down, and she's looking beautiful. So I christened this ship the USS Enterprise, and long may she sail. Long may she sail. Great fun. Great fun. And these will just give these overnight to dry. Let everything dry, obviously, and then we're going to hit this with the satin, and that should hold everything together. Just wanted to mop up some of the water on it. I've got I think I have enough set on here. But that is very, very satisfying, and I think by the time I get the satin coat on this, and this is all settled down, I shouldn't have any issues. Shouldn't have any issues. Now, I can, and I probably will now, because the set is just to make sure that I've got no bubbles or creases or stuff like that. It really works, I find, when you brush it on. It really does help with all of those little, if there's any issues at all, but I don't appear to have any now. And then, of course, I'm going to go over this with a little of the Sol just to soften these into these little cracks now and make sure that it is happy, happy, happy here. And this will just help it snug down into those cracks. And she should be all good to go. Should be all good to go. And there you have it. There you have it. I'm going to just let that do its thing. And so what I've got to do now is I've got to continue to work on the lots of the details. So I've got my instructions because I'm following these, and I think that's a bit of toffee, but don't tell anyone. Just scraped it off here before I go close up. All right. So I'm following the grid, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting down all the little squares that are supposed to be on here, and there is supposed to be, according to this, 20 20 of those. So that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put those 20 little squares down. And after that, I've got some little circles that need to go down. And then I've got my red pinstriping that needs to go around my gray. So when I've got everything down, we'll come back and we'll take a look at that. And I think that might well be it for decals. You don't need to see me laying decals on everything. Unless I come in, run into some serious issues, I'll pop in and say, hey, I blew it, or this is what's going on here. But other than that, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. And so what we'll do is in the next segment, we'll look at everything decaled and dry, and it'll have a coat of satin on it. And at that point, all of the sections will still be apart, and we'll start to talk about fit and look at slowly plugging everything together. And that will be the next. That'll be the next in the next segment. So you want to stick around for that, right? Come on. Okay, we are down to sort of the nitty-gritty here, and I'm right in the process of putting just some of the final sort of touches on this magnificent ship, and these little tiny details here that I'm just sort of putting on. And of course, because I'm doing it on camera, they don't want to cooperate, but they'll be fine. This one dried out. You can see how delicate an operation this is, and you know, they're gonna be fine. You have to really find your zenness with the small delicate pieces, and just be patient with them. Now that's all fine and dandy coming from me, because I'm one of the least patient people out there when it comes to very delicate things. But there's something incredibly satisfying about sort of coming down to the wire here and just picking out these little details is it's a lot of fun. And you know, you will you sort of, you could say, well, some of these are so small, why bother? But I think the most important thing here is to remember that, you know, this has been such a journey to get here, that to not sort of take it to its ultimate conclusion, I think at this point would be an absolute crime. Boy, there's just so much going through my head right now in terms of what I'm doing and how it's all coming together, that I really, you know, I want to okay, butter side up, there we go. Yeah, this one doesn't want to cooperate. It just wants to there's, I don't know whether it's like a little bit of static on the tweezers themselves. I don't know. I don't really know, but you get a little bit of that micro set on it, and it behaves. And then you can put it into position. And then just let them settle down. But let's see here. I've got to get, oh, I've got to get one more I want to do right here before we move on. There. Nice. Makes a difference. They look really cool. Oh, just a hair took that one off. There we go. All right. Fortunately, they give you more than you need. And that looks good. Both sides are on. So that is excellent. So I'm gonna move this one in front of me, set this one down, and we'll do the next one. This is it. This is the last hurrah. These are the nacelles, and so we're putting their markings on. We know exactly where they go. I've got the secondary hull, pylons, and neck all completed, and so that's good. And of course, over here is the magnificent dish, and that's all done. And she's a beauty. Lots of details. Let's see if I can get this under the light, and you can see everything is on there, and she's just looking like a peach. So couldn't be happier with that. Then we've got a few things to talk about in terms of assemblage, because that's the next thing, is to essentially go through. Now I've got this wonderful sanding stick that is perfect for these holes, and I'm going to clean out my pegs on both sides. I've mentioned this before. While it's in my hand, this is from Display. I don't know, but it's a must-have for your kit, I think. And I know a few guys have been asking me about it, and I do think it's on. You can get them on Alibaba. The $20, but you will be so happy you did it. Okay. Let's get these out of here. They're taking a little more than 10 or 15 seconds, which is a good thing, actually, because to be honest with you, sometimes you get some old decals, and that's not fun when you get old decals. Okay, let's get you on the right camera there so you can see what I'm doing. So actually you were better off over here, weren't you? There you go. That's looking good. Loving the micro set with these decals. Usually I go to my get that back into place. Usually I go with my Walthers. But I think I mentioned my Walthers started to actually eat some of my decals, and it was really it was really upsetting. So I've gone to the microsol and the microset, and it seems to be a lot more friendly. There. Got some real mixed emotions, to be honest with you, because I'm coming to the end of this build, and I'm feeling like, oh, there's so many things that I could do better. Just in terms of my prep, just in terms of how I approach certain things. But what a journey, you know, it's been a really fun ride, and I'm glad I did it. Kicking and screaming, I came to this party, as you know, but I'm glad I did it. There we go. Okay, just set this down. Get my fat fingers out of the way. And just slide this into position. Okay, there we go. Remarkable, isn't it? When you know, if you wanted to try and have something stick to your tweezers, you couldn't. And if you wanted to just gingerly slide something into place, you couldn't. And then sometimes you can. I don't know. This is why I guess you're not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to be doing all this on camera, right? Because when people can't see what you're doing, or they don't need to see the process, and they'll just speed right through it. So I don't know. I don't really know how that works in terms of what you're supposed to show and not show, but I'm definitely of the mind that trying to show as many of the stages here as I possibly can is what this build is all about. It's about getting everybody to get excited about their enterprise refit and get going on it. Okay, let's settle down nicely. We'll just let that settle in. I'll flip her over, and we'll get this one on. And I'm putting them basically just two of that. Okay, we'll go into place. Get some of this on here, and then it'll behave. Moving day. Funny how I can't speak to you and do this. So apologize for that, but they're on. They're on. And we are finished with decals. Okay. So I'm going to let everything set up and dry. I'm going to give it a nice satin coat to seal everything in. And then we're going to come back and we're going to I'm going to clear the decks, and then we're going to start talking about final assembly. But as I said, you know, step one to final assembly is to clean all of the locator pins and the small pinholes, obviously, that the locators go into, and just to make sure I've got a decent fit. And then come up, just think about it for a minute, you know, and make sure that we've got everything where it needs to be. And I'm then gonna put this puppy on its stand and fire it up. How about that? I don't know. It's kind of feels weird. But I think we're there. I'm going to go through and just do a triple check here. Make sure I do have everything I want where I want it. And we do have just a few more of these little specky things here. These puppies. I've got a few more of these. So I'm just going to look at my reference material and make sure I know where those go, and we'll drop those in. But you don't need to see me do that because you've been watching me do that, and it I don't know. But anyway, very exciting. Okay, so next segment will be putting this puppy together, and then taking a look at it, and then we'll be ready to fire it up and do a final reveal. I don't know. I'm pinching myself, but I'll double check and make sure everything is how it should be. But for the most part, I think it is. So here we go. Fasten your seatbelts. Okay, so excuse me. The time has come for us to marry the saucer to the secondary hull neck. And what I did was, and I can show you here, is I brought these connectors up through the neck, as opposed to having them dangle out the sensor array, the forward deflector dish, excuse me. Because I thought it would be easier. What I do have is I have this ribbon here, and I need to just be able to collapse this into my neck right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some 5-minute epoxy just to lock all this in, and I'll leave that overnight. And then tomorrow, which will be for you a few minutes, but the next step will be to get my nacelles on and make sure that they are aligned correctly. Now I have checked them, and the pins seem to be working. So far, so good. And then once everything is together, I'm just going to let it dry. Give it a day or two just to really dry, and then we will mount it and fire it up and look at this beautiful thing in all of its splendor and glory. Okay, so that's the plan, and I have obviously cleaned off all of my pegs. These pegs here have all been cleaned, and there's no paint at all that can interfere with this thing. So there you go. That is the next step. I am not going to glue this on camera. I'm going to do this in the quiet and peace of the shop with no eyes looking at me, because I need to rehearse this, and I need to make sure that it's going to lock in. And then, of course, we will have a little bit of cleanup to do, and maybe a little bit of puttying, but I don't know. We'll take a look at that as soon as we're able. Okay, so here we go. Here she is in all her splendor and glory. Lots to talk about. Some positives, really good positives, some negatives, and some learning curves and some experience. But I sort of wanted to give you all of the warts, the good, the bad, the ugly, and sort of just talk about this kit. Let me start from the very beginning, which is I'm very proud of the fact that I took on this challenge and was able to actually get this model finished. And there are some niggly details that I have to tweak, but nothing to sort of stall the inevitable, which is to reveal what this looks like put together, painted and lit. But I have some realities that I have to deal with, and I want to sort of talk about those very quickly before we sort of go around and look at this ship. First of all, I want to address the stand. It's a beautiful stand. We've talked about it. I shared with you in very early updates of this build where to get it, and the post itself, which is a plug and play so that you can remove it, was a good idea for testing the model and for being able to take it off its stand, turn it upside down, do detail work and what have you. However, my stand right here has a weak point. And the reason why it has a weak point is because there is, and I'm going to show you this on camera because I think it's worth it. It's a different version of this. Now this one I was kindly given by the great Steve Neal, and it was very kind of him to do it. He uses these an awful lot, so he has a whole box of them, and he gave me one. But the important thing about this is it's going to allow you and I to talk about this. Now, this pin set here feels a lot tighter than the one that's on my my unit. It's a lot tighter. The other thing that I noticed with this plug is that the threading itself, when I thread up to lock the unit, it goes up very cleanly and locks perfectly. This unit, however, uses a slightly different system, but it's basically the same unit. So you could use this and slide this into a post like this, and you probably will be fine. For whatever reason, where this joins to the post it's not a tight fit, it's not a strong fit, and so the amount of weight, and this is a hefty model, the amount of weight is just forcing this forward just slightly. And I had some threading issues with mine. Now I've put a little bit of oil on it, and I am considering some kind of a clear acrylic kind of post under here, just to take some of the stress off of the front of this, because I think it'll need it, and I'll do that for display for sure. But I wanted to say that if you're going to use this system, there are, I think, more efficient ways to do this, and I think you can do it, quite frankly, using this same system, but build it yourself. Don't get a pre-built system. Now, I'm not trying to take any business away from any third party. I'm just giving you my opinion on what I feel is necessary to display this kit. And it's a very, the center of gravity is about correct, but I'd like to see this pole be a little beefier. And when it comes to putting the plate inside the plastic, I think it should be built up quite a bit. So that's my my sort of review of the post itself. Now, there might be a lot of you out there who have had good luck with this and haven't had any issues. And I get it. Everybody's going to have a different experience. This was my experience. The plug and play lighting kit is a wonderful thing. However, it has, in my opinion, again, it has its deficiencies. There's a tremendous amount of ribbon wire, thick pieces that they want you to put in this secondary hull. And it was a lot. In fact, I actually had the help of Lou Del Mesa, who was here and kindly sort of inserted everything for me, because it takes patience and you have to fold it a certain way. However, I'm not entirely sure that all those folds are good for the electronics. I think that the boards should be in the base. I don't think we should be stuffing that much, and you've seen it in previous setups that I've done, previous updates. You've seen how much guts there is to this thing. Now, there's an efficiency of being able to plug it in, and I do love that. But the amount of stress it puts on the various components is a concern for me. The other thing is where you place your lighting. Mine has turned out not to be as bright as I would like. Now, in a very, very dark room and in person, it's all lit. But for the cameras, even though I'm going to turn out all the lights when we fire this up, it's not as punchy as I would like it to be. That's just my feeling. And I have a short somewhere, so my chase lights for my hangar deck are not operating. Don't know why. I have a sneaking suspicion it has something to do with what happened when I got into the base. So I am going to sort of pull everything apart at the conclusion of this, and I'm going to see if I can get those chase lights going. If I can, I'll do a sort of mini update second video. But I wanted to put some closure to this build for me personally, just in terms of the channel. There'll be some ongoing, very sort of nuanced detail things that I will go in and pick at, but it isn't anything you'll see on camera. So I'm sort of very happy with it. In person, visually, it's a stunning beast. This is a huge model, and in some ways, obviously, its total area that its mass that it takes up is a lot bigger than the TOS 1350, which so it's a lot of bang for your buck. So that is a positive. The other positive I would say with this plug and play is I do like this this wonderful remote that comes with it. That's a lot of fun, and I think really adds to the value of this. So I do appreciate that, and I think the startup sequence is terrific. Impulse to warp, the crystal, and of course your deflector dish, all working, lots of fun. The chiller grills come on for warp drive, which is really fun. We'll see that happening. All your navs are working. My torpedo launcher is working, as are my lasers. So that's a lot of fun. And we'll get what I'll do is I'll get a camera under here for you, so that you can see that. We'll do that in a minute when I turn off all the lights. Gonna do just a quick turn so that you can see this beautiful thing. a lot of fun to build this, but it is a full-time job to build this kit. And but I'm just glad I did, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm just feeling so proud of myself for being able to finish this and accomplish it. But I've learned so much from building this. Now this is the first time I've built this kit and painted it, and so it was a huge learning curve for me. And I know some of you will say, Phil, you're better than you say you are, and that's very kind of you. But I do come to this bench every day wanting to learn something, and this kit has taught me an awful lot about preparation, about details, about fit, about planning, an awful lot. And those skills are really, really valuable for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you, because like anything in life, some things come easier to some people, and others it doesn't come that easy. So there's a few of you out there who's rolling your eyes and going, I don't know what he's bitching about. Well, I'm not bitching. I'm just sort of giving you my subtext of how I feel emotionally about this. Definitely humbled by the experience, and so those are some of the things that I'm dealing with or have dealt with. Paint job extraordinary. So grateful to Lou over at the Aztec Dummy for his kindness, his generosity, his patience with me, and it's because of him that this paint job is as good as it is. That mask set is every bit worth the value, every bit. It just is. The decals that come with these kits and the aftermarket pieces, decals are decals. Whenever you can cut them down to manage them, especially when you're dealing with compound curves and things like that, do it, because it'll make your life a lot easier, makes my life a lot easier. But for the most part, the decals are crisp, and the markings are beautiful. So I'm really happy with all of that. So anyway, enough yapping. Let me turn off the lights, and let's power this enterprise up and see what we've got. The lights are off. Nobody's home. Obviously I've got some daylight pouring in here, and the camera is compensating, which is why we are what we are. But anyway, let me fire this up. So the first thing you do with the remote is you power on. So that's step one. So here we go. Here's power on. And as you can see, we get some lights coming on in the neck, in the body of the secondary hull, and we also get some lights on the rear of this thing. So this ship. Here, let me show you. You can see here we've got all the lights are on here, and there's obviously lights on in the saucer itself. You'll notice here that I've got a little bit of work to do on the rec deck. I'm putting in a little bit of photo etch here. That's drying, so forgive me that those windows are not accurate. But so that's power on, and so let's go to the top view here, and I think this might be the best way to show startup. So here we go. Here's startup. Love the way all the floods are coming on. Your crystal comes on. You can see everything is starting to flash even below here. That's very cool. Everything is all the nav lights are starting to flash. Everything is on. So you can see that from this perspective too. which is really nice. And then, of course, from this perspective, the registry is lit, your thrusters are on, the strobes are on, the nav lights are light. So it's really, it's nice and clean. And from the rear, it's nice and clean as well. And so that's really really all working. So I'm really happy with that. The next thing I now in person, by the way, it's a shame because you can't see it, but I'm hoping with my camera here that I can plug in to my. I can actually plug into my my phone here and show you this, because I do think this is worth it. Let me get this plugged in, and so we can take a quick look around here. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Forgive me while I turn this on. Here we go, we're on. So this will be this camera, and so we'll do some things like you can see in the Arboretum. I'm not sure how much you can see, but the Arboretum is on, and I'm really happy with that. There's lots of detail in there, and that's fun. And you can see underneath you've got this beautiful effect, this wonderful flooding effect. So what I want to do now is, and I'll take you to the back just quickly, and you can see we've got lots of light, so fun. It's really and of course that strobe underneath is on. Everything is on, so that's cool. So what I want to do now is let me move this around. Let me move this around here, and let me see if I can get you close to, well, we'll watch. We can't get both chillers. Maybe we can get both chillers on. Yeah, I think we can. This will be a fun angle. So let me go back to this camera, which is shaky, shaky, shaky. Forgive me. Forgive me. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so here goes warp drive. Here we go. You'll see the chillers come on in just a second. There they come. And the crystal, of course, changing to that wonderful blue. And in person, I assure you, my chiller grills are purplish. They are not blue. But such is life. You're going to have to trust me. Okay, so let me get back to a camera here for a second. And what I want you to really do here is check out what happens. Let me get this on camera for you. Let's see. Yeah, let me go to this camera here, and we'll go there. No, let me try this one. There. Okay, that's a good shot. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you what happens when we go back to we go out of warp, because it's great fun to watch it change. There it is. Your chiller grills go off and it goes to yellow, and I'm really happy with that. You can see I'm struggling with the with this color here. So what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just stop for a second here and reset, so that we can carry on. Okay, so not the greatest of ways to end a video, but I think it's important, and that's okay. You know, we're all learning here, and I think it's very important to show progression and warts and all. Now, so what's happened is the weight of the model has literally caused this piece here to collapse inside itself. And so I'm looking at that as good news, not bad news. And I'll tell you why. It's because what I want to do here is I want to remove this piece. You see how it's gotten spongy because it's just collapsed inside this pipe. So what I want to do is I want to do a reset on this base. I like this base and everything about it, and the electronics in it are working fine. But I did have a problem with my sound card, so I'm going to use this as an excuse to clean up my sound card issues and replace my pole so that my Starship sits nice and strong on this. So that's going to be an update video. I'm not because I wanted to sort of show off the ship and show you where we are, and that's sort of the purpose of all of this anyway, right? But I've got some work to do on this base, so I'm going to do another segment in a few weeks perhaps on this base and how I was able to overcome the base issues. And I'll break it down, and so we can see what I do, whether or not I actually just replace it or I can repair it. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to break it down and take a look. But that is it for this part, which is part 11 of this series on the 1350 refit. I hope you're enjoying this journey as much as I am. You know, it's incredibly rewarding to be able to say that you can check off that you've actually tackled this particular enterprise. Very, very, very proud of myself for doing it, but I've got still got a lot to learn. But anyway, so there you have it for this update. Thank you for coming along on this journey with me. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. You can drop me a line, spreeverse@gmail. Follow me in the weeds on my Instagram account. I post usually every day of just small things that I'm working on or thinking about. So that's always fun. And as always, please, I wish all of you be safe, be well, build something. Come on, let's build something. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.